It's good actually. I have a very thin audience. It's nice in a way because I was not expected to speak at all. This is suddenly something that has been called upon. So I'll be very brief. I have now I started business 1962 actually. And so I have put in something like more than 55 years I've been in business. I've seen India go through all kinds of tremors, black areas, controls, and where bureaucracy ruled, where people started talking about socialistic pattern of society and whatnot and what else. But I don't want to go into that. I think you have had enough of that situation. I only want to talk about two things, each one lasting about 5 to 10 minutes. One is, what is the philosophy of business, and what is the dharma of business? The philosophy of the business, as I see it, is, in fact, the running of a good business is a fairly fundamental thing. You can buy technology, you can buy machines, you can buy finance if you're prepared to pay interest, you can buy land, but you cannot buy motivated people. You can buy people, but you cannot get motivated people. To get motivated people, you will have to work on them. And actually, how did we do this? I mean, we have now, the morning, Vijay Menon was telling that in the last 52 years of running Sundaram Fasteners, we have not had a single hour of stoppage of production. Even during the time when communist regimes were, dime a dozen everywhere, including Chennai. It's basically, it boils down to communication. Every company has a vision. The vision does not necessarily come from the managing director, chairman, managing director. The vision is a conglomeration of visions that is shared by the people working in the company. They take part in that vision. And that vision gets synthesized, and people start sharing that vision. Once the managing director feels, or the head of the company, CEO feels that this vision is a palpable heartbeat of the company, then you start communicating that vision. Vijay Menon was very right. Our secret lies in communication, 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 and more communication. And I used to say, when you are tired of communicating, you communicate more. Because that's the only way the vision gets through to everybody. And once you got the ownership of vision, the people who work in the company, they take ownership of that vision, then it becomes easier because they own that vision. It is not something which is a vision of the chairman, managing director, or somebody else. Then you start setting milestones and say, now this company needs to go this way, and because you need to progress in your life, and you need to go from here to there, and in order to do that, we have to cross these milestones. These milestones are not unreachable milestones. They are always a stretch in the milestone, but these are achievable milestones provided you are able to stretch yourself. But you stretch yourself because you believe in the mission. Then once you have achieved the milestone, the other thing that the chief executive does, because he has got the pulse of the company, is to come out as a winner. Always come out as a winner. Always. Because everybody loves to be in a winning team. Everybody. When the women's cricket team, for example, lost the finals against England, India mourned. What is it? It's just a cricket team, right? They play so many games, they just sort of lost one game. But they represented India, and they lost. So you internalized the loss of that cricket team at that match to be a loss for India, not for the cricket team. So in running a business, when you reach a milestone, it is not a milestone that is reached. It is the company reaching a pinnacle, company getting an award, company being lauded, company being said, oh my God, this is a fantastic company. They internalize that. There is Tirukkural, I don't know how many of you know Tamil here. It says, Indra Polidin Virthukum Tan Mahane Chandron ena Kettathai. Means a mother feels greater happiness when she hears society praise her son than at the time when she gave birth to the son. So the internalization of the company being praised is much more important to the workforce than at the founding of the company or when they joined the company. That is the philosophy of the company, and we have not had any. We have got many awards, many distinctions over a period of time, which they internalized, and that is the philosophy of the company. Let's come to the dharma of the company. What is the dharma of a businessman? What is the dharma of, let's say, a professor who teaches mathematics, for example? The dharma of a mathematics professor is not only teach mathematics well. His dharma is fulfilled when, say, 20, 30 years from now, 20, 30 years from now, a man says, I always hated mathematics, but that professor made me understand mathematics. He was a fantastic professor. That is his dharma. Same, I used to ask myself, what is my dharma in running a company? My dharma in running a company is to see when people retire, they come to me and I ask them 2 or 3 questions. Is your health okay? He says, sir, the company has looked after my health, my wife's health, my parents' health, which we do, as a matter of fact. So nothing, everything is okay. So what about education? Sir, I came only 10th standard passed. My mama drove me away from the village. I came and joined this company, and I worked in this company all the way up. And of course, the company gave scholarship. Both my children got scholarship. My daughter is a gynecologist in Sydney. My son works in Silicon Valley. He's a PhD in. So he says, what more could I want? Health is okay, education is okay, children are doing well. So what the exact dharma is not that. Is elevating people from a lower standard of living to a much higher standard of living. If we can, each one of us, whether we elevate 8 people, 8,000 people, or 80,000 people, if we can elevate by our efforts to a much higher standard of living, we would have fulfilled our dharma. This dharma is the most important dharma for a businessman. Marketing, yes. Marketing is important. Quality is important. All these are given now. Without quality, you can't sell. Without marketing properly, you cannot sell. Without making a proper product, you cannot sell. Without having a workforce which is motivated, you cannot sell. You cannot have a successful company. But what is inherent? What is the essence? What is your dharma? Dharma is that by your effort and the effort of people who work with you, you elevate generation after generation. Now, TVS companies are now working on the 5th generation of people because we started in 1910. Generation after generation after generation, people get elevated and reach a standard of living which could have only been a dream in the forefathers' mind. And that is the dharma that, if you practice well, will be always remembered. Thank you.
I had a question for you. See, when people like Kingshuk write about the dark side of business, and please have a seat, sir. And when you look back at 30, 40, 50 years of Indian business, and you've been able to uphold all these values, and it paid for you. It worked wonders for you in retaining your employees, having not a single day of labor strife. Do you think in today's world of dog eat dog, such intense competition, do you see a decline in business values? Do you see greater temptation? Do you see that giving up some of those values might actually pay you more?
Pay you more in short term, yes. I mean, I don't doubt that. But are you going to be a short sprinter or are you going to be a marathon runner? And if you're going to be a marathon runner, you need a lot of stamina, which means not only stamina, but also be the ability, spiritual ability. The stamina comes not from just physical fitness. It also comes from a spiritual willingness to run that extra mile. I know the modern days are changing, but as you rightly said, even in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, India was a very, very hard place to do business in. Yep. We had different kind of challenges. We have now different kind of challenges. So I feel that if you treat, human beings are the same everywhere. We have a plant in China, we have a plant in England. I can tell you stories about how we have approached the Chinese plant and the British plant. They all respond to the same kind of stimulus that we give in India. They're not different. They're no different. And we have been very successful in China. We have been very successful in England, following the same paradigm of running a good business. Finally, the business is not about just making money. It's also about not only convincing the people, but also demonstrating that by working well, working towards quality standards, their standard of living goes up, the children's standard of living goes up, and they are contributing not only the company, but to the country. Right. It's a philosophical thing, but it can be done. It's not impossible. But you have to be at it. You have to be at it all the time, because you have to communicate and then communicate and then communicate. It is possible.
So demonstration is obviously the best way to do that. Well, thank you so much on that note.
Thank you.
I will please continue on that note. I'll end, and I want to tell you one other thing which we've all missed today. Long years ago on this day, Mr. and Mrs. Parmanand made a tryst with destiny. And I told them, don't do it, don't do it. They did not listen to me. But today is Benedict's birthday. Benedict Parmanand, who is the CEO of this Little Fest and the prime mover, he's missing. Again, I'm sure he's organizing something or the other. Thanks. Kingshuk Nag, are you still here or have you left?